Amazing Grace was a new song at one time, and there's probably a few people that said, I don't know if this one's going to work, but it worked pretty good. I don't know why I'm opening my Bible. My name is Marty Kessler. Mike asked me if I'd tell you my story, so to speak, and I've noticed in listening to all of them, each one had its own fascination, and they just range all across the board, which I think is the story of the world. So many different situations, so many different circumstances. I was born the son of a poor sharecropper. There's a movie that starts out like that. I think somebody might have seen the movie, but no, that wasn't me. My dad was in the service when I was born. So I was born in a place called Bourne, B-O-U-R-N-E. It's out on the Cape of Massachusetts. I don't tell too many people that, but I was born in Massachusetts. I've outgrown it. Just kidding. Massachusetts is an honorable place to be born. However, he got out of the service when I was about 5 years old. We moved back to West Virginia where Dad was from and Mom was from. But I can't remember a time in my life when Mom didn't take me to church. I remember going to church in New Jersey. That's the earliest place I can remember as a child going to church. But she always took us kids to church and took me to church. My dad was a really good man. He was so good that when he died, I was 13 when he died, there were a lot of people at his funeral that we didn't know, but they had showed up because through Dad's work, he worked for the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and through his work, he helped a lot of people. And so a lot of the people that showed up for his funeral, we didn't know, and they were poorer families who wanted to pay their respects to this man who had helped them. So he was Christian at heart, but he wasn't a member of the Lord's church. But my mom made sure that every time she went to church, I was with her. And I didn't always want to go. As a matter of fact, most of the time I didn't want to go because I thought I had better things to do all the time. But she said, no, you're going with me. And Dad always supported that. He never once discouraged me from going or discouraged her from taking me. And it wasn't one of those things where, okay, I'll make a deal with you. You can go on Sunday, but you can stay home Sunday night or you can stay home Wednesday night. No. I was for a Bible class on Sunday morning, church on Sunday morning, church again Sunday night, Bible class Wednesday night, and that was in the day when we had gospel meetings. Guess who was at the gospel meeting every night? Mom made sure I was there, even when I didn't want to go. But I went, and it definitely paid off for me. By the time I was 9 years old, I was baptized. I got to thinking about that years later when I was 24, and I thought, I think I knew what I was doing, but I'm not really able to remember the details, and so at 24, I was baptized again. If anybody is having any doubts about your baptism because of your youth, do it again. I don't think the Lord would be offended in the least if you did that. But I do want to, in telling my story, encourage all of you parents, get your kids here. You're doing it tonight, aren't you? It pays off. And here's one of the ways it pays off. When I was 17, my mom had to sign for me, but when I was 17, I went in the service, signed up my senior year in February. It's called delayed enlistment. So I signed up in February, went in June. By the end of that year, I found myself a single kid, 18 years old, in Las Vegas, Nevada. You know, there's a lot of trouble you can get into in Las Vegas, Nevada. And one night it just occurred to me, standing in my dorm room all by myself, I thought, wow, there's nobody here to tell me what I can do and can't do. I've got a motorcycle. I've got money. I'm in Las Vegas. I can do anything I want. And I thought about some of the things that the other guys were doing because it wasn't too long, just a few days before that, I was in a car with some guys. I'd met them at work, and we were driving along, and the smoke in the car smelled kind of funny. And I found out they were smoking marijuana, and they offered me a toke on the joint. Oh, no, thanks. I don't think I want any of that right now. So I learned real quick you have to be careful who you hang out with. But that night, after having that experience and realizing I could do anything I want, it struck me, I don't want to do anything wrong. Not because of my mom, but because of the people that I remembered at Rock Creek. What would Roy Williams think of me if I did this or I did that? What would Claude McNeely, one of our elders, think of me if I did this or did that? What would Lambert Dolan? Now, these guys I'm naming, and I could name a bunch more, J.B. Duty, these weren't shakers and movers. These aren't guys that are ever going to be asked to speak over it, affirming the faith. Nothing against affirming the faith. I'm just saying these are not big-name guys in the church. They're just good, solid men. But I saw them 3 times a week because Mom made sure I was at church. And because I knew those guys and had rubbed shoulders with those guys and had relationships with those guys, it changed my life. So no matter what your circumstances are, make every effort you can to get your kids here. I know you can't always do that, but when you can, get your kids here, bring them. It makes all the difference in the world. Well, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Might be some things to change, but that's it. I appreciate you all being here. I have really enjoyed working with this congregation for the last 13 years, and I hope you have enjoyed me. Bob's got some prayer requests.